got a new board, the 611 by 25.5, yeah?
Yep.
So, and today was this your second time on it?
Second day.
Yeah, and?
Very fun. Found it's very well balanced. If you're taking off and you put a lot of your weight on your front foot, that helps a lot. And then once you're up, weight over to the back foot and you're good.
Where do you put your back foot?
Right over the bump.
Okay, and the
right
front
over
foot?
I put my front foot, for me it's just before the L's on the blue planet, right there.
Okay.
Right there.
All right.
And I'm good.
So, and today was only your second day on it, so how long have you been foiling?
I've been foiling for 5 years with kites, but I've only been foiling like 7 or 8 times with a stand-up.
Okay, and then this worked better for you than the board you had before that, right? You said.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, it's well balanced.
All right, thanks, Lee. Got this new board, it's 7.6 by 30.5 easy foiler.
Yep.
And you just started stand-up foiling, yeah?
Was it that obvious?
No, but so how is it going? How do you like it?
So far pretty good. I think actually stand up for me was a little bit harder.
Harder to learn?
Yeah, because I'm just uncored in general. But this is super hard too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm making little incremental gains, right? Mm-hmm. I catch a little bit here, I fall, catch a little bit longer, I fall, catch a little bit longer, I fall. But this board is good.
Today is only the second time on it or something?
I've been on this 3 times. I think I got it fairly dialed in. I'm over 220 pounds right now. I'm kind of super fat, so this has total more than enough float. I was gonna convert my 810 wide point, but I'm kind of glad I didn't because that would have been way too much board, I think, for the most part for the stuff that we're riding.
Okay, so you put this thing on there. So when you put your foot, you put that in front of this pad thing?
I'm putting my foot about here, but so far I'm not good enough to really.
Right.
I'm just trying to make sure I don't go too far back because that it's been flying a lot and I fly off the back.
And then you actually put a foot strap for the front foot. And
yeah.
Does that help you with foot positioning or why?
This foot strap helps and it hurts.
And it hurts.
Because what happens is, otherwise my foot could be here and adjusting, right?
Right.
But it's kind of in the way, so I kind of have to be off to the side. And you have to be right on the middle of this. If you're a little bit off, then it wants to flip. So I'm undecided, but I'm undecided. I think what I might do is take it off today, put something else and see.
So on my board is a 6.6, and I don't use any foot straps on mine. But for me, my back foot is all the way back here, like at the end of this pad here and right in front of the
Wait, so you're over your back screw?
Yeah, so like my foot is actually even behind the back screw a little bit, but then I put my front foot pretty far forward, like almost over the logo.
How tall are you?
So I'm 6'2".
Is that why? Because your legs are longer?
Maybe. I just find
that's a long spread.
like also like carving over the foil, turning and stuff it's a little bit easier if you're further back. So my board is the 6.6 by 28.5, 116 liters. I weigh about 195 pounds, and so it's working for me. I know I've been foiling for a while, but it's nice to have a smaller, shorter board. So I find so for me, I put my back foot like right kind of here, like sometimes
wait, try talk us through like when you're paddling for the wave, just about before you're the wave, as you're dropping in the wave, because your feet are moving, right? Or what?
Yeah, to catch a wave I usually try to turn into it to the left, so I'm paddling, because I'm regular foot, I like to have my paddle on the right side. So, and then as the wave's approaching, I'm turning into it, and then like before the wave gets to me, I try to jump into the surf stance, and for me it's like right around here, actually a little bit like right around here, my front foot by the Blue Planet logo, and my back foot like right here on like right behind on top of the back screw of the foil. So right here is where I have my back foot, and then fairly centered. Sometimes I'm a little bit off to the left with the front foot and off to the right with the back foot, but the more centered you are, the better it seems like. And then I take a few hard strokes to catch it, lean forward to catch it, and then I kind of I start trying to pop it up and kind of pump it if the wave is not very steep. And then as soon as the foil kind of comes up, the drag goes away and you got the wave, So sometimes the foil actually makes it easier to catch a wave that you couldn't really catch on a regular board. But so that's why you're able to ride a kind of a shorter board than you would on a regular when you stand up surfing. But what's really important in the beginning is to kind of get your weight forward, like, you know, sound like say, you know, square off to the front, but really important to lean on your front foot. So in the beginning, if you can just keep the board on the water and just surf it, get used to this, like really leaning forward. You know, your natural instinct is to lean back. Like when you're surfing, you want to lean on the back foot, right? So on the foil, you really want to lean forward, keep the weight forward, and then carefully have it come up, and then keep your weight on the front. So you don't want the foil to come up too high and breach the water surface, basically. And that's it.
Okay. Can I ask you, when you go, show us the position again of how you initially are dropping in. So like.
Okay. So yeah. So I'm catching. I'm paddling. Like
when
this.
do you change your feet?
Like right before the wave gets to me, I jump into the surf stance, and then.
So you jump.
Strokes,
you're actually jumping.
Yeah, I jump.
Okay.
Jump right into this position. That for me works the best.
And you pretty much at your actual foot placements, then you're not a little bit offset or anything. You just.
It depends. Like if I'm catching the wave kind of early, maybe I'll have my foot more forward at first, and then move it back to get the board to lift. Another thing is that I see a lot of guys do is this. You know, they start riding and then they just go straight. And what happens, the foil has so little drag that you just outrun the wave, and then you end up in the flats and you come off the foil. So you come down. So what you want to do, the trick is just to always angle, always stay high on the wave and go left and right, but keep your board on top of the wave and like on the higher part of the wave. Don't drop down to the bottom into the flat part.
Okay. So your foot's way in the back, behind the foil.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have mine, yeah, like on the day like today, if the waves are really steep, like I'll be more forward, because then it's harder to keep your weight in the front, you know, and you don't want to have too much weight on the tail. But like, especially for carving, like if you want to turn and stuff, you have your foot back here, you can like swivel around the mast easier, you know, so it's more, yeah, for turning, I like to have it kind of further back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. Cool.
All right, so my foot straps are set based upon the 2 screws that's on the mast. So you got your front, you got your back screw there, which is here, and you got your front screw, which is there. So the mast is basically right here. This back screw is basically where the insert is at. So off of this center of this screw, which is where my foot strap is, my spacing between here is about 27 inches. So that's my foot span, and that's comfortable enough for me. So when I go down on a wave, I can still lean forward, I can stand up, or I can sit back. Ideally for me, the span between 26 and 27 is good. This is what I want. This is what I'm comfortable with, standing into it.
And your back foot is basically right on top
right
of
on the back
or a
screw.
little bit behind it even,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So now from here, what makes it good is because I have enough room here. So when my feet gets in the strap, well, I'm goofy footed person, so let me come this side. So when I'm goofy footed, when I step inside here, my feet is like basically right next to this. And when I'm paddling forward wave, and I'll show you another example. Once my feet is in here, it's locked in here, my other feet turns around and slides right in here. The good part about this is the foot strap is almost 9.5 inches wide. So if at any point in time I need to slide forward, I can slide my feet here. And if at any point I need to slide my feet back, I can always slide everything back. Or I can do combinations. Slide forward, this one stay back. Or I can bring this one back so I can shift my weight back a lot more easier. So there's like 2 to 3 inches of play that I can do in adjusting my weight. So I like having the foot straps only because it centers off to where my body needs to be according to where the foil is at. And I can also make adjustments here. If I lean all the way forward, that means I'm on a really steeper wave, and I can lean farther forward. And when I'm at a wave there that doesn't have too much energy, I can slide my feet back and I can lean further back. So I can always adjust my weight positioning.
Can you show us how you take the foil off with the foot strap?
Okay, so what I'll do is, this screw is completely through my foot strap. So I'll take this out.
So that's just the front screw of the foil.
This is the front screw of the foil of the mast. Yeah. So this always stays here. Here's the screw hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my second one here is I'll take it out. Completely take it out. and I'll take this screw and shove it in here. Now, these two screws will always stay here, and it's only specifically to this board. I have several other boards that have several lengths of screws, and every board has its own specific screws for that board. So now my board is it's disconnected here. I'll flip it over. And if need be, I'll take my feet, step here. Yeah. First put my pressure here, break it loose. And just keep walking it out. There you go.
So this is the Maliko 200
This
size,
is,
right?
yes, from Gold Foil, Alex Aguirre's design. This is the Maliko 200. This is my go-to foil. I love this foil. For somebody of my weight, I can get on the wave easy. I can adjust easier. It's very forgiving on smaller waves. Turning is really easy, and it's really controllable. Once it gets a little bit bigger, then I'll jump to the Evo, but this is right now, today was my go-to foil, which is the Maliko 200.
Tell us about these little winglet things.
Okay.
What's that about?
So these winglets are for helping control. I drive through a lot of white water, so I put these winglets here just to specifically help the foil to control it once it starts to go over white water. When it starts to hit white water, it starts to jump all over the place, and it's not 100% fixed. However, it helps control it once I start riding over it. For me, when it comes time for me to catching a wave, yeah, I'll always be in my position here. And if the wave is coming here, because I'm a goofy footed, I'll bring my front feet here, but I'll set my feet and I can still paddle in this position. So when I'm here, I'm always keeping my paddle on my open side because my hip is facing this side of the board, which is the left side of the board. Some people tend to paddle like this, but it's a lot harder in trying to get into position when it comes time for you to square everything off into this 12 o'clock position. Okay. Now, once I start going, yeah, and I'm going down the wave, I'll lean into it. Well, while I'm into it, my body's already keeping the foil down, keeping the board down in an angle, because once you start going down the wave, it always wants to jump up on you. So I'll lean into it, and then I'll take my feet and get it into this position. So now all my weight is on the foil. Everything's all on the foil. I'm facing down and I'm looking all in this area. Also, I'm looking at my line of projection and making sure that nobody's in my line of projection where I want to go. So if I want to go in this direction, I make sure no one's here, and I'm already leaning and going down the wave. There's once I'm down the wave and I'm at the bottom of the wave, then I'll stand up, and which basically keeps the foil, bringing the board up, and I'll keep it in foil. Now, if I'm running out of power and the board wants to go down, I'll sit back, which basically lifts up on the board, lifts up on the foil, keeps the foil up. And if I need to come back down, I'll lean down. I'll lean a little bit forward. I can stand back up. So there's 3 different positions I'm doing. I'm leaning forward, standing up, or sitting back. So depending on the wave and how big the wave is, a lot of power, I'll lean into it, keep the foil down, making sure everything's good, and then I'll stand back up and I'll keep everything kind of level. So in this position where this foil is, my body's already squared off. So no matter what I do, if I lean, the foil's leaning all at the same time, standing up or sitting back. So whatever this board is doing, I'm already leaning and positioning positioning this foil, and basically controlling the foil going down the wave, coming up the wave, leveling out. So basically, that's how I get my feet into position. I like the foot straps only because it automatically will set my body exactly where it needs to be all the time, 100% of the time. Yeah. It's just a matter of me trying to.
I like how you showed the foil, but because basically when you're surfing, you're riding the board, but when you're foiling, the board has nothing to do with what it's all about the foil. You're controlling the foil with your feet.
Everything
but not
you know about surfing, everything you know about surfing gets thrown out the window.
Forget
a lot of guys like to, go into the surfing stands and be able to turn. It's not like surfing. This thing is, you have to be able to control it. So that's why everything you know about surfing kind of gets put on the back burner there. Yeah. Leaning into it and controlling this, basically controlling the plane, going down, standing up, sitting back, bringing it down. And then when it comes time for turning, another thing too is I like to put a lot of pressure if I need to turn left, my front side, I'll put a lot of pressure on my tool, and basically all I'm doing is just slightly tilting this foil, slightly tilting it that way, and this board would automatically turn. So
Yeah.
you're already giving it a command to turn, and you gotta follow it, the thing.
Right.
Straightening it out, same thing. If I want to turn back to my right, which would be my heel side, I'll slowly step on my heel, giving it a command, and get ready for go, because this board's gonna go, the foil's gonna turn because you already gave it a command.
Yeah.
So that's one of the key things to make sure you understand when it comes time for you turning.
And it seems like the turning, you can actually just rotate the foil side to side, but then because of the G-forces, you also have to lean into the turn.
Yeah.
But it's not like the leaning is what causes it to turn. It's just you need to lean to be able to for the G-forces, but really you're more like swiveling around.
Okay,
it seems
so
like, yeah.
there's another way that there's another way of turning it, which is basically you can take this foil and you can actually turn it in this direction.
Right.
When I was talking about earlier about my turning into my toe, I'm basically turning it, tilting it this way. So I guess in aviation they call it a banking turn on a plane.
Yeah.
Or you can turn on and actually the plane can actually turn this. So when it comes time for turning, just turning the foil left and right, just doing this, what I'll do is I'll switch my body here and I'll open my shoulders to where if I need to go this way, I'll open it this way, which is basically causing my hip to do this, which is causing the board to do that, and you just gotta follow with the board. If I'm going there and I want to turn back here, from this position I'll turn my body here, and that body will end up moving the board, which moving the foil, which everything's from back here. So the timing, if you need to turn now, you got to make sure that you had turned already, or getting your body into your position, 20-30 feet before your actual turn that you wanted to do. So it's basically hip and shoulder. Yeah, hip, shoulder.
Do you find like the original Maliko is more flat, right?
Yeah.
So which is nice and stable, but do you find this is easier to turn?
It is. The Maliko 200 and the Eva are the two better foils to use. For me, I'm a big guy. Yeah, I'm 225, 230, and on a bigger wave, I'll jump to the Eva, and I can control the Eva a lot better than I do the Maliko. The Maliko seems to be a little bit more flatter, but when it comes to being my turning, it tends to slide a little bit. But the Eva, because it has those curvatures on the foil, when it comes time for me to turning, it's so forgiving. It doesn't slide, it doesn't do it, it just holds that line just enough for me to do my turn, and when I come back to do my other turn, I can just switch my body over, and that foil doesn't tend to slide out. So
Okay.
the Eva and the Maliko 200 are my go-to foils.
Okay, can you I saw you doing a couple of nice kind of floaters off the whitewater. Like what, can you give some pointers on how to do that?
Okay, when it comes to do floating, you gotta have enough speed to climb it. Well, actually, once you hit it, once it comes down, you gotta be able to make sure that nose is above the whitewater. Clear it now. The hardest part there is that board either wants to jump down or go straight this way or turning. That's based upon what the whitewater is doing, and you gotta follow with the board. Everything happens so fast that you gotta be able to up the whitewater, come down, watch your contour. If you're coming down the wave like this and there's a lot of whitewater there, it'll tend to pick up the foil, and you gotta keep a lot of front foot pressure on the front of the board so you can keep everything down. Once you're down, you're out of the whitewater, you can turn around and actually start foiling again, standing up, yeah, and just controlling the foil all at the same time.
Yeah, what I find too that it really helps to keep the foil low in the water, so basically you almost like touching the board, the board to the whitewater. You don't want to be up too high, because then your foil just gets into that whitewater.
There's a danger factor to that too. There's a dangerous factor to that too as well. If I'm banking off the whitewater here, and if I don't follow it, that whitewater pushes the board here, which pushes it that way, which causes the board to tilt back this way, and I've had it done to me several times. I'll fall backwards, the board flips this way, here comes the foil, and the foil did hit me in the back several times. But good thing I had a life jacket on, it actually helps me protect it. So that's one of the dangerous factors to it. So it's one thing you just gotta watch, and the only reason why that happened is I didn't follow with the board. I tried to control the board, keeping it there, but when that board started moving this way based upon the white water, it flipped it over, I flipped backwards, and I ended up on the foil. Lesson to learn with that: follow with the board, follow with the foil wherever it wants to go.
Do you ever get stuck in the straps?
Okay, so yes, when I first started, yes, I did get stuck in the straps. But now that I'm foiling and I get a better understanding, if you see something that's not right, don't feel right, doesn't look right, probably ain't right, get ready to eject, get your feet out of the straps and start ready to jump, get away from everything. Yeah, so it's just a matter of understanding when to eject, when to hit the eject button. Things don't look right, don't feel right, it's probably ain't right, just eject.
Yeah, another thing you have to watch, or a couple of things you have to watch out for is like if you pitch your board in, or like the board breaches and you come down hard, you fall in front of it.
Exactly.
Make sure the foil doesn't hit you from behind, you know, like coming over you. So,
yeah, so what happens is if it jumps up and it comes back down, my feet is in the foot strap. First thing I'll do is I'll roll here. What I do is I tend to roll my shoulder into the turn, which causes this feet to get out. Once I'm already out, I'll turn around and cover this way because I know where the board is and I'm seeing the board, I know exactly where it's at.
Yeah.
So I'm straight looking forward to seeing where that board is at,
right.
And my feet is already out of the strap.
Kind of kicking it out.
Yes.
Aloha, this is Julie Cool, Miss Hawaii USA 2017. Thank you so much for watching the Blue Planet Surf YouTube channel. We've got the coolest stand-up paddle videos from Hawaii, and we post a new video every single week. So please like and subscribe. Aloha!